Greetings all. Welcome to One Man's Life 61. Today's video is going to be a little different. I'm not going to be doing any projects outside or anything. I'm just going to talk to you just for a few minutes and tell you about uh, an event that happened 7 years ago today. Like I said, today is the 26th of September 2023, and on the 26th of September 2016, I ended up in the intensive care unit of the hospital because the time I was dying of cancer. I didn't know I had cancer at the time, but I did, and I do. Currently still have it. What happened was I had to go to the emergency room due to severe shortness of breath. And they couldn't really, they did some tests, they really couldn't find anything wrong until they took a blood sample. And that blood sample told them that I had very, very low hemoglobin. Didn't know why, but it was, at the time, didn't know why, but we know why now. It was very low. To give you some context, when they test for hemoglobin, they take a sample of blood, and it goes into a lab, and in just a few minutes, it comes back a number correlates to how much hemoglobin you have in you. And if you're healthy, it should be between 13 and 18. If you get down to a 5, it's typically fatal. Well, this cancer bottomed my hemoglobin out to 2.8 until I was able to get some blood through a blood transfusion to bring that number up. And what they do is for every unit of blood, it brings your hemoglobin up 1 point. Hemoglobin, by the way, is produced by your bone marrow, and it it transmits or transfers oxygen throughout your body for all your internal organs and all that good stuff. So I was down to a 2.8, and the name of my cancer, by the way, is called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, splenic marginal zone. This is a particularly rare form of blood cancer. It's a blood cancer, and it's very rare. Only 4% of blood cancer patients will have this type of blood cancer. I don't know where it came from, but I've had it for years and years. I don't even know at what point I picked it up, but it's a slow growth type cancer. And it can be very deadly though, left untreated. So I'm trying to set up a picture here for you. I'm sitting or laying in an ICU bed, waiting for blood to bring my hemoglobin up to a non-lethal level. So I was down to 2.8. I needed 5 units to bring me up to above a 7, and that would be considered out of danger at the moment. But there was another problem. For whatever reason, my blood contains numerous warm antibodies. Nobody knows where they came from, but they are there. And as a result, I can't have normal blood from a blood bank. For instance, on paper, my blood is A positive, but I can't take A positive blood, normal A positive blood from a blood bank because due to these warm antibodies, it's incompatible. So here I am, 2.8 hemoglobin, waiting for blood at 5 p.m., and I didn't get any until 8 o'clock the next morning. And the reason it took so long is to give me blood that won't kill me. They find a match as close as possible to what I have. And there is no match known in the world that's an exact match to my blood. So what they do is get it as close as possible through a database. And then it goes through a process of, I don't even know the blood is put through a process to make it less incompatible. It's still incompatible by the time it got to me, by the time it gets to me, but it's, all I had. I mean, that's all they can do. And it actually worked. Later on that day, on the 27th of September, toward the end, after my fifth unit of incompatible blood, I was at a 7.5 hemoglobin, temporarily out of danger. So it was not until October the 11th, a few weeks later, that I had a bone marrow biopsy, to determine exactly what type of cancer and how involved, how much in my system I had it, how bad it was. So I had the bone marrow biopsy done, and it showed that I had the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, splenic marginal zone, and that the cancer had consumed 88% of my bone marrow. Thus, only 12% of my bone marrow was creating hemoglobin, which is why it was so low. So between that period of time, mid-October until December the 8th, every couple of weeks I had to go back to the hospital and get more blood because my hemoglobin kept going down on its own. So every couple of weeks I'd have to get another 2-3 units of blood. I was given probably in a period of time from the event of September 26th until around December 8th, or mid-December actually, probably about 3 gallons of blood, all of it incompatible. But it got me through until December 8th, and that's when I had my first cancer treatment. The reason it took so long, till December 8th, to get my treatment was because the insurance company wanted me to have regular chemotherapy. But my oncologist insisted on this new drug called Rituxan. And this Rituxan cost $10,000 a dose, and I needed 4 of them. So the insurance company balked and wanted to give me something cheaper, regular chemotherapy. But this Rituxan had only been around for a couple of years by the time I needed it. And my oncologist convinced the insurance company that this is what I needed, not regular chemo. And so I was given that. So finally, December 8th, 2 days before my 55th birthday, I finally got my first dose. Now, during this time, I was in such bad shape that if I wanted to climb a flight of stairs, one flight of stairs, I'd have to be well rested beforehand, and then I can make the attempt. I would get up halfway up the stairs, and then I have to rest because I was out of breath. And then after a few minutes, I could try to do the other half of the stairs and make it up, and that's how bad it was. But by my third dose, which was 2 weeks later, I was getting markedly better, feeling markedly better. My hemoglobin was starting to come up on its own. I didn't need any more blood transfusions. And on the 30th of December of 2016, I had my last dose of Rituxan. I've not had any treatment since because I've not needed any. It's all I needed. It's an amazing drug, this Rituxan. So early in 2017, I had another bone marrow biopsy to determine how well Rituxan worked. Remember, the first biopsy showed that it was 88% cancer. My bone marrow was 88% cancerous. After the Rituxan, it was down to less than 1%. Less than 1%. So since then, I've been getting my blood tested every 6 months, and my hemoglobin's up near 18, 17 to 18, right where it should be, and I've not had any problems since. In that I had been partially blinded from this. When the hemoglobin got so low, my retinas suffered some damage, and so when I'm out in the open, I can see fine. When I'm outside, everything's fine. But when I want to look at something detailed, for instance, a keyboard on my computer or a restaurant menu or something, I can't see. It's blotted out. The letters can be blotted out. It's just this little tiny dot everywhere I look, on a keyboard or whatever, that's blotted out. If I'm looking at a black dot, small black dot on a white wall, I won't see the black dot until I kind of look, sort of like this. But oddly enough, when I'm out and about, outside, I don't see anything at all. And also, I was able to pass the driver's test for my license. So yes, I am blinded, but it's not that disabling. So that's about it. It's been 7 years today that I was in the ICU, and I've had no problem since. Hemoglobin's holding together. In fact, I was having my blood drawn every 6 months, but it's been so long. My oncologist said in August, when I had my last blood draw, that she doesn't want to see me for another year. So, unless there's a problem, but I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. I don't think there's going to be any problems. So anyway, I think that covers it all. I told you the warm antibodies. I told you about the ICU. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for listening. And I'm going to be putting more videos out there of probably more fun stuff like trail making, what have you. But until then, have a good day. Thank you for watching. So long.